So, AEW 4th of April review, let's get into it. So, starts off with Adam Copeland coming out to the ring and basically giving a rah-rah speech, as people would call it, about AEW after the recent negative news thanks to the CM Punk interview with Ariel Helwani. With that being said, Adam Copeland does a good job here. He doesn't bring up the things that CM Punk said. There's no need for that. He just puts over AEW and basically gives his reasons for being in AEW, which he's done on multiple occasions now, but it's always good to hear again. He starts listing off the dream matches that he could have, which I'd love to see many of those dream matches, which we'll have one next week, but we'll get into that. And he then puts over the company. He says this is where the best wrestling is. This is where the best wrestlers are. This is one of the best rosters he's ever been a part of. Bit of a stretch that AEW does have a fantastic roster, but just think of some of the rosters Edge has been a part of. I mean, come on. Anyway, he then introduces Will Ospreay, one of his dream opponents. Will Ospreay comes down to the ring, getting ready for his match with Powerhouse Hobbs. Him and Adam Copeland show some respect to each other, and we move on to the match between him and Hobbs. Now, this was a great match. I quite like the dynamic. I don't always get to see it where Will Ospreay is taking on a bigger guy. He's not the biggest guy, but in Japan, they don't always have many bigger guys that they're going up against. And this was good. This was really good. Will Ospreay sold well, sold for Will Hobbs well, made Will Hobbs look like an absolute beast, and that's all you can ever ask for in a match like this. With a bigger guy and a smaller guy, that's all you can ever ask for. Now, Will Ospreay did get the win eventually by landing the hidden blade. And, oh, by the way, he did land a spiral tap or a sky twister press. I don't know what they call it. He did land on Will Ospreay's face a little bit, but yeah, those things happen. And I guess people went at Guevara for it, so maybe we should just keep it equal, even though I love Will Ospreay. Anyway, Will Ospreay got the win, like I said, and then afterwards there was a bit of dissension between Hobbs and Ospreay, even though they're part of the Don Callis family. I do think the Don Callis family is going to get involved somehow this weekend, or what's going to happen after Dynasty, not this weekend, when Dynasty happens, or what's going to happen after Dynasty, but there's definitely going to be a breakup. Will Ospreay is too much of a babyface to be in this faction. Even wrestles like a babyface against his own guys, you know, just doesn't, yeah. Will Ospreay is definitely going to leave the Don Callis family in some fashion. Then we had Bryan Danielson actually interrupt Will Ospreay while he was leaving the ring with his entrance to take on Lance Archer. And this match was kind of, I'm not going to lie, it felt like they should have done the same style as what Ospreay and Hobbs did, but because it was back-to-back matches, you couldn't. So it kind of felt like they were trying everything else, and it just didn't flow right. I didn't enjoy the match that much, and that's weird coming from Bryan Danielson. But they still worked well. There was nothing wrong with the match. It wasn't awful. It just felt it wasn't the right psychology for this match. They should have done what Ospreay and Hobbs did. But I understand why they didn't, because they're literally following up from that match. You can't do it. So I understand. Perhaps they should have had the match later on in the night. Bryan Danielson gets a win. And let's move on. Next, we got Jericho and Hook segment. So Jericho comes out with Renee Good or Renee Young. I still don't know what his second name is in AEW. But anyway, comes out. He has a little conversation with her. He says he wants to talk to Hook. So he calls out Hook. They have a conversation. Jericho says he understands why he doesn't trust him. He's never done anybody good. Let's put it that way. Anyone he's ever worked with, they've always ended up on his wrong side. So he understands why Hook is skeptical. Anyway, Hook then says, well, I've made a match for us on Collision. No idea who that match is against. They didn't announce it there and then, which was a little bit weird. Hook also, I don't know how that man sees. He's got a beanie over his eyes. Who wears a beanie over the eyes? Anyway, Hook is just Hook. Then we cut to Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor. And this is where we find out that they are the opponents for Hook and Jericho. A little bit of a weird way to announce this match. I would think you'd have Hook and Jericho say who they're fighting, and then you cut to Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor, and then they cut a little quick promo on the match. But anyway, that's how they did it. Interesting. Then we had what is possibly the worst match I've been a wrestling fan for 20 plus years. This was horrendous, guys. This was so bad. We had Jay White versus Billy Gunn. Jay White got destroyed by Billy Gunn. This was John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Jay White got no offense in for, I don't know how long this match went on. It went on way too long. I'm reckoning 10 minutes, maybe just short of 10 minutes, but man, this was terrible. Billy Gunn gets a head start. He attacks Jay White during his entrance. Then they just fight it out. He fights him around the whole arena, basically. That's literally what he did. And then they fight in the ring again. A little bit of offense. They get distracted by the Titantron. Anyway, Billy Gunn then lands his finisher, his famouser. He goes for a steel chair, sorry. Then his sons come out and they're trying to stop him and protect Jay White, blah, blah, blah. Then, anyway, Billy Gunn ends up getting low blowed by Jay White. And then that's the match. Terrible. That was horrendous. I don't even know what to say to that. But anyway, the Acclaim then comes out because obviously they attack Billy Gunn. The Acclaim comes out and saves Billy Gunn. They try to put Jay White through the announce table, but he gets out and runs away. So there wasn't even a payoff to the segment by putting him through an announce table or anything like that. It was terrible, guys. Terrible. I really don't know what to say about that match other than some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. Jay White, I'm sorry you're having to go through this, man. You should have gone somewhere else. Then we have Willow cutting a promo once again with Renee Young, Renee Good, Renee Moxley. Anyway, Willow cuts a decent babyface promo. There was one awkward moment where she was like, I hope the people at home are feeling good as the crowd is, or as loud as the crowd is, something along those lines. And the crowd just didn't say anything. So she was like waiting for the crowd to pop, and they didn't pop. And then eventually they popped because they realized, oh, we should be popping here. Yeah, that was weird. But then good babyface promo there afterwards, got a bit emotional. And then out comes Mercedes Moné and calls her shot against the winner of her and Julia Hart's Dynasty. Then we have the Best Friends versus the Young Bucks. So that is obviously Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta versus the Young Bucks. Decent match. I enjoyed the Young Bucks work a lot more this week than I did last week. I will be honest. I think they found a little bit of a healthier balance between their new style and their old style. So I enjoyed that. The match was decent. The EVPs got the quick roll-up win on Trent Beretta. But what happened afterwards... Oh, by the way, Sue, Trent's mom, is at ringside. I don't know why, but she's there anyway. Then, after the match, Trent Beretta turns on Orange Cassidy. That went left field. That went a whole different direction than what I thought that was going to go. So, but I kind of like it. I think Trent is being underused at times, and this is a good way to kickstart Trent's singles run, I guess, or his heel run. But I kind of like it. Orange Cassidy I just hope Orange Cassidy doesn't just bury him in the long run. And I say bury him because Orange Cassidy doesn't lose. Orange Cassidy does not lose. I think I said this last week. So with that being said, that is quite surprising. I like it though. Let's see where that goes. Then we had Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May. And Thunder Rosa is basically working her way up to get a match against Toni Storm. I'm not sure if the match was announced before this match or after this match. But anyway, decent match. Actually, they were cooking. But Toni Storm was on commentary and she was super distracting throughout this whole match. It just was not working. I don't know why. She just kept talking and I was like, I'm trying to watch this match and you're talking. It just didn't feel right. But she wasn't bad on comms. It was just very, very distracting. And they cut the camera to her a lot with the grey filter, obviously. And I don't know, I just felt it very distracting from a decent match, actually. Anyway, Thunder Rosa ended up getting the win via pinfall and basically called a shot against Toni Storm. So now the match is happening at Dynasty. Like I said, I'm not sure if it was announced before or after. But Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa at Dynasty. I'm all here for that match. Should be an absolute banger. Then we get Penta backstage calling out Adam Copeland for a TNT title shot. So that's going to happen next week. Penta versus Adam Copeland. That should be really, really fun. I'm not going to lie. Then to end off the show, it didn't end off with a match, which is unusual for AEW, but it's different, which is not a bad thing. We had Swerve and Samoa Joe doing their contract signing. And they basically just cut a promo back and forth. Nothing too interesting there. But then Swerve attacked Joe. Tried to choke out Joe with the chain that he wears. Joe was not phased and headbutted Swerve. Then Joe attacked Swerve with the chain. Okay. And then Swerve got color. He started bleeding. Cool. Then Joe left. Swerve signed the contract with his blood after saying, I live for this shit. This is not going to stop me. Signs the contract with his blood. Weird, but it's cool. Not bad. And then Joe comes back in and buries him again. Not buries him. That's a strong word. He puts him through the table and all of that. But I just felt Swerve looked stupid. You attacked Joe and you ended up in a bloody mess through a table. Swerve just looked a little bit stupid. And I'm like, I thought he was the face now. Now he's doing heel moves. The heel would attack, Yeah. But it was not bad. I'm nitpicking there a little bit. But it was not bad at all. Looked good. It actually gave us a bit of excitement for the match, a bit of violence for the match, a bit of aggression before the match now. So I'm looking forward to that. All in all, Dynamite was pretty uneventful it was eventful yet uneventful at the same time. It felt like it missed a big star to do a big thing. Does that make sense? We had Adam Copeland we had Mercedes, we had a lot of people, but it just felt, I don't know, that one big thing was missing. Maybe that's just because WWE right now has The Rock and Cody and Roman doing all these big things. Each episode, there's that big star doing something. Maybe that's why I'm feeling this way about AEW. This is not a comparison. This is just I watch all wrestling, guys. So this, I don't know, maybe that's just what I'm become overly used to and spoiled with in the recent weeks. Maybe that's what it is. Anyways, decent episode. Billy Gunn versus Jay White, worst thing I've ever seen. See you guys next time. Take care.